Hi, Ben here again, and welcome back to part 3 of Love and Spirit from Pig Iron's new album, Blues plus Power equals Destiny. Now before we look back at the tail ends to this particular guitar solo, let's see if we can look at a couple of the sections we've looked at in parts 1 and 2. Check it out. Okay, so we've looked at the tapping positions that are based around the lower octave from the 12th fret. Now the next section we're going to be looking at is going to be around the 12th fret, which is going to have a symmetrical position of 12, 13 and 15. Once again, keeping the 16th note triplet feel, what we're going to be doing is having a legato run going through these particular shapes to extend into our final tap lick. Now I tend to mix it between just doing a straight legato run of running through those positions under one pulse in 16th note triplet, and then sometimes what I'll do is I'll actually imply a tap, still keeping the 32nd note motion on the 17th fret while I have this new position going from the 12th fret, which should sound a little bit like this. Which is fairly swift, and then going into my final tap run, keeping that set position I've got from the index finger on the 12th fret. Now at this particular point I'm keeping my set shape around the 12th fret, I'm not moving it this time, and I'm taking my tapping finger and I'm invertedly putting it down into the 19th fret, going from 20 to 19, which should cross 2 bars. Being the first bar, being the second bar. In context, so if you want to give yourself a lead into that run, it might be worth actually giving yourself, let's say, a counting of 3. So you get a counting of, let's say, 1, 2, 3. Because your entry is going in from that 32nd note motion, which is kind of also complementary to the 16th note triplet. Sounds a little bit confusing, but depending on how I play it, sometimes it just runs through a straight 16th note triplet legato run. Sometimes I'll actually put the 32nd note by actually tapping in 8 but pulling off in 16ths. It all makes sense in the end. You'll find the practical application will start to add up, and as long as you keep the timings to what I previously disciplined from the previous part in part 2, you should be absolutely fine. So, get it rocking. So the next part, we're going to do a slide going from the higher register past the 12th fret, right down past the actual nut, so it's a slide more or less into nothing. Given a transition into some very, very standard rock full-tone bends, which are going to be placed here on the 20th fret. And then I come back down, to the 17th fret, so 2 bends there. And then doing a final bend on the 20th fret on the top of the string, going into the 22nd fret, which would be the pitch of D, which complements the backing, which is going to be in the key of D. Okay, so I've left the best section until last. Here's the uber crunch section, the death crunch section, that comes in just before the guitar solo. Check it out. pretty straightforward. It's just a power chord, a fifth chord movement of the low A going to B flat, moving to a C, and back down to the B flat, and that is all with a palm mute going through in 8th notes. And the way it comes in is in the syncopated fashion, so you count in 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you come in on the end. What I tend to do is, rather than actually play it as straight power chords, a straight barred fifth, because I've got the low A now, because I've got that low A, even though it's easier to actually play, it's actually easier to make it more colourful, so I can actually put lots of extensions on the chord as well. And a couple of extensions I tend to do are things a little bit like this. What I was implying there was the use of a sixth shape, which actually is a major third, but it's put on the top, and the distance being a sixth away from my allocated point. And it's just a straight point which goes across. Let's say if I was using the A power chord, I'll be going just 2nd fret, D string, and let's say 2nd fret on the B string. So I'll be going across D string and B string, both on the 2nd fret, negating the middle one. And it's got quite a country twang to it as well, especially with, let's say, puts and pull-ons and so forth. And what I thought would be nice is, rather than just having a monotonous heavy metal crunch going across, which is all good, to really keep the flavour of the pig iron flavour to it, I wanted to put that sixth idea in as well. So you kind of had the metal element, but you also had that bluesy. Another idea of actually using those major third intervals is actually putting a stretch onto the bass strings, because there's a nice bit of colour you get from using, let's say, the treble strings to use that sixth shape that makes it really, really toppy sounding. But once again, to keep the weight, to make it real UGG-like, what I do is I put a stretch off. Let's say if I was doing the B flat, which is on the 1st fret, I then stretch my pinky finger all the way, a full 2 tones That stretch going across with the pinky is directly inspired from that crazy comedian Devin Townsend. Big fan of his work, and I really like that stretch because it keeps the low endness to that particular inversion, and it keeps it nice and heavy. And that's pretty much how you play the Uber Crunch, and that goes through a selection of, let's say, 4 to 8 bars, and then you're into your guitar solo. So bish bash bosh, where you go, heavy metal, keep it real. Right, so that brings us to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the lesson, and stay put for further pig iron tutorials that will come out soon, and also my Unsung Guitar Heroes column. If you've got any requests at all for any information on these videos or any upcoming events, just contact me on my YouTube channel, which is Ben Pig Iron, and links will follow on this video. So stay put, keep rocking, and stay inspired.